Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us on YouTube for this morning's Right Here, Right Now. And thank you to Roy, who is joining us from Lime Street Station due to a bit of a train malfunction. So we'll just get straight into this morning, and we're going to be going through some writing prompts with Roy.
Thanks, Jen. So good morning, everyone. Yeah, I'm glad Jen explained that. Otherwise, you might have thought that's like a piece of art I've got in my kitchen, which definitely isn't the case. The train was cancelled this morning, and I made it to a cafe in Lime Street just in time. So I'm just going to put the prompt into the chat here, and I'll read it out as well. Anyway, so I don't know whether anyone can see this. So here's your prompt for this morning. If you just want to kind of carry it on or use it as inspiration or take a little bit of it. So I'm going to have to say something. I can't ignore this much longer. You know, she's my boss and it's got to be done. Imagine it got out and people I knew. They knew I'd said fuck all. I'll do it after me dinner. Craig, can I have a word, please? Shit, it's Julie. She read me mind. Yes, sound, Julie. I'll come to your office after me dinner. Now, please. I follow her down the corridor and into her office. I believe you've got something to say about this, Craig. And that's it. So a lad working in an office, I've kind of alluded to the fact that he knows something and his conscience is nagging him to do something about it. And he finally decides he's going to do something, and then he's hijacked by his boss anyway, and she wants to speak to him. So I've left it there. So the couple of things to think about. What does he know? Why does he feel compelled to speak up? And why has she intervened? Does she know he's going to say something? Is she trying to rope him into it? Is she trying to collude with somebody? So just give yourself the next 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes, see what you come up with. While you're writing, for those of you who are in Liverpool, have a think about whether this piece of writing or something else you've got, you'd be interested in standing on a stage and reading it out on Friday between 6 and 8 o'clock at Video Odyssey, which is in Toxteth TV in Windsor Street, walking distance from town. There's a link which we'll share with you during the sessions this week to just book on. If you're in, book on if you just want to come anyway and attend, or if you actually would like to get up. I think it's one of them. If it's something you've always wanted to do, thought about doing, this will be the place to do it, because it's just us. It's writing on the wall. It's myself and it's the participants taking part in most of the sessions for the past fortnight. So there's a link to book yourself. It's a home crowd, friendly crowd. I'll just give you a bit of time to run with that prompt. And probably the sound here is really distracting you in the station, so I'm just going to mute myself for a couple of minutes. For anyone who's joined in our previous prompts, you'll notice they're all kind of similar and lead into a situation straight away. But don't feel like you have to conclude that situation. You don't have to explain everything in it. Don't have to wrap everything up. It can be left a bit of a mystery. Yeah, I've been given exercises like this myself, and I look at it and go, shit, how am I going to do all this? Because what I've got to do is this, lead this in, explain this, wrap that up, and then you don't really. If you want to do that, you can, but don't feel obliged to do anything like that with these prompts. Sometimes with short stories, particularly like flash fiction, like really short stories, you don't have to answer anything. You can leave the reader asking more questions at the end than they did at the beginning, especially if you're contrary like me. When I wrote this out, my intention was that Julie is Craig's boss, but you don't have to follow that road. So you could kind of think about who Julie is, and has what she's wanting to say to Craig got anything to do with what's been tagging on Craig's conscience. Just this morning, travelling in, a couple of people who have been on the groups over the past fortnight, they've sent me pieces of work that they've written, well, most of them as a result of the prompts, and with the intention of reading them out on Friday. And they've just been really good, high standards. like completely took me, well, somewhere I wasn't going to go with them, because when I've wrote the prompts out, I think I naturally have a continuation of them. But the people who've handed me their work in, they didn't, they went somewhere completely different. That's the beauty of these prompts, isn't it? You get this very same prompt with 10 different people, and you're getting 10 very, very different outcomes. And I don't know about yourselves, but when I get given these, tend to come up with stuff that's been laying there, like dormant. Stuff I noticed during the day, like particularly somewhere like now, sitting in a train station like this and just people watching, wondering where are people going, what are they doing, where have that group been? And then when I'm given a prompt, that kind of stuff just comes out. I don't think I ever kind of just make stuff up on the spot. It's all there somewhere in my subconscious and conscious as well, because I make notes in my phone a lot of the time. That'll come in handy at some point. Think about short stories like this, if that's what you're doing. I don't tend to worry about the beginning, middle and end stuff and the who, the what, the where. You just kind of get in, do something really freaky, weird and get out. And that's that. I've just seen something flash up on the screen. It's World Poetry Day today. I don't know about you, but it seems to be World Poetry Day every other week. Is that just me? Am I imagining that? Well, regardless, happy World Poetry Day. My favourite poet is a guy called Paul Bertil, who writes very, very short poems, actually. Very short, uncomplicated poems, but with a lot in them. There's a session tonight, 6 till 7. We're going to look at fiction. I know some people tend to not read fiction, or when they write their own poetry, it's all autobiographical. And I'd class my stuff as fiction. There's always some grain of truth in there, some real life event. And one of my intentions when I write is that the reader never knows which bit is the true bit. But if this is a new style of writing to you, kind of prompts I'm giving you, and I know it has been for a lot of people who I've spoken to over the past fortnight, they've predominantly wrote poetry. So they've said this has been a big challenge for them. So tonight might be interesting if you're kind of that way as well. If you think the fiction stuff is a challenge, it'd be interesting tonight to get into a group and hear other people's experiences around writing fiction. It's all I've ever wrote, so it's not too difficult for me, but ask me to start writing poetry and I just stare at a blank page for a few hours probably, or just feel like I couldn't do it justice because I don't class myself as a poet. mean, I could probably write a story just sat here. If I sat here all day and just watched people and earwigged, I might probably get thrown out. But yeah, who doesn't love people watching, particularly in train stations and airports and places like that, where there's people going to and coming from places. You can fill in the gaps. Where have they been? Why? To see you. What do they do for a job? What's she listening to on her headphones? I tend to do that a lot. Try and guess what kind of music people are listening to. You never know. Anyway. And please feel free as well to send whatever you've written over. You send them to Jen, send them to Writing on the Wall. They'll pass them on to me if you want any kind of help or hints around performing them, or I find with short stories, editing is the hardest bit. The rewrite, knowing what to take out. Yeah, feel free to do that. I'm happy to help with that if I can. always interesting to see who stuck to the two characters that I just introduced in the prompt and who's introduced their own characters. I love that because it's like a collaboration then. Me and a mate used to start writing our own stories and then swap and take on each other's. We just used to do that as exercises to get us to challenge ourselves a bit more. We ended up finishing pieces as collaborations. That's what these are, aren't they? Apologies again for the haphazard nature of today's session, just with the noise in the background. Me being at the mercy of Northern Rail, but we got it. We got it, man. We done it. So let's see. Hopefully, either tonight or ideally on Friday at the performance, people between now and then, if you want any help with them, as I've said, feel free. But it'd be absolutely brilliant to see people get up on that stage with pieces of writing they've created over the past 2 and a bit weeks, or not, or just come as an audience member or bring old stuff that you're more confident with. It's completely up to you. But my plan, taking on this residency, was to get people on the stage who've not been on there before. Thanks for your time this morning, everyone. Was it all right, the background noise, Jen? Wasn't too bad.
All right, thank you so much, everyone who joined us on YouTube. Tonight at 6 p.m, as Roy mentioned, we have Bloc Social 2, where we will be exploring character. On the 23rd, we have workshop 3 called Fiction is the Lie Through Which We Tell the Truth. We have 2 spots remaining for Roy's one-to-one sessions, and on Friday we have the live and in-person block party at Toxted TV. If you're interested in performing, please email me, jenny@writingonthewall.org.uk, and as Roy mentioned, please send us any of the work you've been writing on and we will pass it along, because we just really want to hear what you've been doing. Right, thanks for joining us, everyone.